Hey everyone, just wanted to fill everyone in on my sprint race that I competed in a couple weeks ago. My gosh, I look horrible. I feel worse today than I did after I finished my race. Today was the first day of school out here, so we had our first-year-old and got on the bus. He was off first day. Our preschooler, we had orientation. Our little man, we brought to daycare. It was just kind of crazy and chaotic. So I feel and look worse probably than I did a couple weeks ago. But I just wanted to give everyone an update. I'll try and make this short. Every time I say I try and make this short, they last for like 5-10 minutes and they kind of drag on a little bit. And I also feel like in the angle and the way things are set up right now, it's like a Michael Scott video from The Office. So if anybody's old enough that ever watched The Office or Michael Scott or knows that reference, you'll understand some of the episodes that he recorded himself in this similar capacity. But so competed in the Durand Eastman sprint triathlon a couple weeks ago. I was up at 4:30 in the morning just to get there early. I like getting places early when I compete. I was used to do the same when I competed in track, powerlifting. If weigh-ins were like at noon or something, I'd be there like 9-10 o'clock in the morning just to make sure I was able to get to the venue on time, not be late and miss anything. Same thing with track and field, double, triple check bags, make sure I had all my shoes. Same thing for this triathlon stuff. So got up at 4:30 on a Saturday, had a light breakfast, double checked all my gear, loaded up my bike, and drove on down to the lake. And as I was getting out of my car, the MC was announcing that the swim portion of the race had been canceled because the water was really choppy. And I just wrote a blog post about it and posted it yesterday on the website. But I was immediately flooded with all these crazy emotions of despair, like loss. Like I felt like all of the training that I'd put in was gone because the swim portion of the race was going to be canceled. And as other competitors started arriving, we started getting more information in regards to what type of race we were going to compete in. So eventually, because I was competing in a sprint race, all the competitors ran a duathlon. So we ran half of what our full run distance was going to be, biked our regular distance, and then competed in our full distance to wrap up the competition. So because I was running a 5K at the end, we opened with a 2.5 5K run, 20-kilometer bike ride, and then a 5K to finish up. And as they announced that at like 6:45 in the morning, I had to take a walk. And I feel weird like sharing this stuff, but I don't know if it'll help anybody else out, if anybody ever, feels like this. But I really thought my whole day, all my training up until that point was gone because I didn't feel like I was in good enough running shape to be able to, run twice in the same day. The 3.1 miles, that's usually enough to kind of get me tuckered out at a normal training session, but to do an extra mile and a half before that was the most mileage that I've ever completed in a day in my life. So either I need to train better next time. Well, that's one of my takeaways was, if you think you trained hard enough, you gotta train a little harder. So I took a walk down the bike or down the run path, just kind of get my mindset back, and really go through my positive affirmations and things that I talk to myself about when I'm on my long rides or my run sessions, even things that I think about sometimes in the pool as well. And for me, it's, you trained hard and you deserve to do well. It's kind of like one of the mantras that goes through my head all the time because I feel like I'm training really hard. My watch is telling me that I'm training pretty hard. What difficult workouts that I used to complete in like March and April are really easy now. So I feel like I'm getting in better shape. But for some reason that morning, I don't know, I thought like, oh my gosh, I gotta run an extra mile and a half. Like my transition to my bike is gonna be horrible. Like it's just gonna fall apart. So after I took about a half hour to kind of gather my senses and get myself back on track, really just started focusing and concentrating back on, you know, what I needed to do. I really was thinking a lot about my pacing. You know, I went out really fast when the gun went off at 8:30 in the morning. You know, I went out for like the first half mile at like 8-minute pace, which for me is like, wow. So I knew I had to dial that back. So I immediately went to the back of the pack. You could tell it's a little later in the afternoon, right? The weather's it's a little darker back there. I look horrible, like I said, but I do have my Tango Charlie t-shirt on, which I love this tie-dye. It's awesome. So I immediately went to the back of the pack, ran about a 9-minute pace for that 1.5 miles, and transitioned really well onto my bike. So I don't have like special pedals or special bike shoes or anything. So the shoes that I run on are the shoes that I bike in. So my transition was really fast, maybe like a minute, just enough time to kind of like dry off a little bit. I took in some fluids, got on the bike, and really just started going crazy as soon as I could get up to my top speed, which is about 18-19 miles an hour, and just try and maintain that for the whole course. And that was my training plan from the very beginning, is just come out hot, try and go as hard as I can go for as long as I can go, and see what happens. And that's usually how I train here as well. Usually I do that for my 20 and 25 mile bike rides or training sessions, so I know that you know, for a 12-mile ride I could kind of push the pace a little bit, which I did, which I finished my bike portion of the race 10 minutes faster than I did last year for the exact same one. And then my bike, same thing, or my run, excuse me, my transition to the run was really fast. Took in you know, another big chugs of my fluids, my electrolytes my concoction that I put together. And then I went off at 9:45 pace for the first mile, and then just kind of had to dial it back a little bit because I was really hot. I don't know if it was going too hard on the bike, like caught up to me, but I came in on the 5K at like 32 minutes, which is a personal best for a 5K, and it's about 12 minutes faster than last year's race. So overall, with the initial run, the bike, and the run again, I finished in 1 hour and 32 minutes. Last year, the same race with the swim, I finished in 2 hours and 4 minutes. So I'm pretty confident that I would have finished at least under 1 hour and 40 minutes. I don't know how long the swim portion would have took, but I felt really good as far as like swimming sessions leading up to the competition. So after the race, I was kind of thinking to myself that, you know, I still feel like I'm in really good shape. One of my goals for the year was to do 2 sprints and an Olympic, and unfortunately I just wasn't able to get that Olympic distance in. So I registered for another race. So this upcoming Sunday, I'm going to be racing it's not this Sunday, next Sunday. Nope, this Sunday. Yep. I better get ready. This Sunday I'm competing in the Finger Lakes Sprint Tri. So hopefully the weather's a little nicer. We'll be able to get the swim portion in. You know, it's only half a mile. It's not that big of a deal. You know, I should be done in like 14 or 15 minutes. The bike portion is relatively flat, a little flatter than the Durand bike leg, and then the same for the run. Nothing too crazy or complicated. So my goal, same thing, is to come in at least under 1 hour and 45 minutes. I've had some really good swim sessions the last couple weeks. My bike sessions, you know, according to my watch, say that I've been pretty productive. Same thing with my runs. So I feel really good. And this transition from, you know, what's the right word, I guess? Transition from like strength athlete or strength sport athlete to more of a distance. I don't know what the right word is. I can't find it right now. But you know, I've trained my whole life for, you know, 2 or 3 second quick bursts in a bench or squat, deadlift. In any sports that I competed in, track, for example, throwing the hammer, you're only in the circle for like 2 or 3 seconds at a time, and then you got a little bit of time to think about, you know, what you have to do for, you know, round 2, 3, you know, 4, 5, and 6 if you're fortunate. So this training for hours and hours and hours kind of feels good. You know, my body's reacting really well. I weigh about 249 pounds pretty much every single day. I'm not like cutting or anything like that, but I'm definitely watching a lot more of what I eat. So I track everything in my Fitness Pal. I try and keep everything like at least under 2,800 calories, 2,900 calories. Everything I kind of have set up. I don't have like the special app for it or the add-on. But I have 3,000 calories put in there, and I just try and stay under that. Try and maintain. It feels like it's been working so far. But with school starting up now and getting on a regular schedule, we'll see how meals and dinners and lunches and stuff will come into play. Because I've been on vacation for the last couple weeks, so it's been easy to train. Whenever the kids go down for nap. Now it'll be either really early in the morning before the kids get on the bus, or much later in the evening, like I did when I used to train powerlifting in the garage and complete sessions at 9, 10, 11 o'clock at night. But my goal for right now is to kind of maintain where I'm at. I want to try half iron next year. I know that sounds kind of crazy, probably ludicrous to some, but I feel like challenging myself like that, especially with everything that I've put my body through for all those powerlifting meets and all those track and field competitions. This change of pace, I think, has suited me well so far. Like, I feel really good. My body doesn't feel blown up after 20, 25 mile bike sessions. Obviously that's going to go up to 60, 65 plus, but I have a full year to kind of get myself ready for that. And it's cool kind of like interacting with everybody here through YouTube and anybody that watches my short videos or my craziness on Instagram and stuff. It's cool. It's a cool community. I'm really interested, and I'm happy that I've been welcomed in with open arms, especially from the background that I have. I really don't have much to help with others as far as like triathlon goes, rather. But everyone's been really helpful. Anybody that I've messaged, some of the books, some of the training and stuff that I've looked at, some of the coaches that have been really nice to write back. I really appreciate that. But I think for a half, it's definitely going to take a little bit more than some weekend warrior stuff. So that's why I'm really kind of like setting up my year now, even though I have a race this weekend. I'm going to train a conjugate for the competition. I don't know if there's any triathletes that have ever trained conjugate, but Nate Harvey, who is a former strength and conditioning coach at University of Buffalo, he wrote this awesome book called Conjugate You. So it's pretty much a 190 page book that outlines strength and conditioning program, his strength and conditioning program that he implemented at UB throughout the course of his tenure there as the head strength and conditioning coach for Olympic sports. So he had great success with football, the football team, men's and women's basketball, track, swimming and diving, cross country. Was part of a team with that helped coach a national champion shot putter, conference champions for football, conference champions for basketball, Olympic trials competitors, the whole 9 yards. So he wrote this book through Elite FTS, so I picked it up, and that's actually how I'm going to train for the next year. It's kind of similar to powerlifting, but not really. You'd have to look at the book and kind of look, see for yourself. It's too difficult to do in a short video like this. So that's the way I'm going to train for my half Ironman is through conjugate programming, and I have all that stuff in the garage, and I'll be able to go through that if anybody's interested in watching or looking at YouTube videos or watching or interacting as I go along on this journey. But I appreciate everyone who takes the time to listen and watch any part of these videos. I appreciate it. I appreciate any of your comments, your feedback, anything that you think could benefit me, being a bigger guy who wants to do a half iron. I weigh 250, like I said, 248, 249. I think I'll probably have to get into the 230s to not, beat my body up as much. So I have a long time to kind of transition into that. Not like cutting like powerlifting or anything, but actually make gradual changes to my nutrition, better recovery, smarter training that'll lead to those different body changes and body comp outcomes. But I appreciate everyone's time in watching this video. It was a great sprint try in Durand. I'm really looking forward to the Finger Lakes try this weekend. And if you see me, or if I approach you and ask a dumb question, I appreciate you taking the time to answer. And if you have any questions about any of my craziness here, you can always reach out on Instagram, or message on through the YouTube stuff, if you're so inclined. But I thank you everyone for taking the time to watch and follow along on my journey. It's been pretty cool, and have a great night.